Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our special Wednesday edition of PCCS's EmPower Hour. My name is Alyssa DeGusto.
I'm Kevin Roman.
And we're here today with our friends from the Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Council. We have with us today Marissa Corio, Janet Lamantia, and we also have Chelsea Beatos, but she is going to be joining us in a minute. But until then, I think Chelsea's coming back now. We love there's Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. How are you? So thank you guys so much for joining us for our episode today to discuss the Staten Island Developmental Disability Council's committee, the Care Management Committee. So before we get started, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I guess I'll start.
Yes, okay. Marissa.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marissa Corio, and I have been in the field for about 10 years now. Well, since 2010, so yeah, maybe 11 years now. I think I've worked in, every department of an agency, and now I am a mom of two and the information and outreach coordinator for the Staten Island Developmental Disabilities Council, also known as SIDDC. As some of you may know, the SIDDC has been around for just over 50 years now, serving as a resource and advocate for the community. So whether you're a professional in the field, a parent, or self-advocate, there's a committee within the SIDDC for you to join. And I'm going to put the information for our website in the chat here, so you can check out all of our committees. We have residential, care management, here with us today, self-direction, and a bunch of others. So also, if you check our website, which I'll be adding to the chat, you'll see our upcoming meeting times. We meet each month, and you'll find that on the calendar portion of our website. So that will be there. I know there's a lot of information that we're going to share today, so I'll try to put everything in the chat. And lastly, this Friday, we have our DSP Awards, just to recognize the amazing DSPs across the island. So that information will also be placed in the chat and out on our website. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Marissa. So Janet and Chelsea.
Okay. Hi, I'm Janet Lamantia. I am one of the co-chairs for the Care Management Committee. Previously, it was the MSC, Medicaid Service Coordination Committee, as everyone knows, but we decided to keep up with the times and change the names in 2018 when MSC switched over to Care Management. I've been on this committee for, I think this is my fifth year. I previously was an MSC, an MSC supervisor, a care manager supervisor, and a care manager director for a brief period. For just about 10 years, I worked in the MSC care management world. I've been in the OPWDD world for 17 years, started as a TA, DSP, you name it, I've done it. So currently I'm actually not working for any of the care coordination organizations. I am on the provider side now. I am the Director of Family Services with Eden 2 programs, but our goal for, with everything that happened during the transition, our goal was kind of to help strengthen and help build those providers and care manager relationships. So I think it's a good partnership that we have somebody from a CCO as a co-host and then somebody from an agency, because it kind of helps us see both sides of things, and we could both kind of bring in some of the CCO side and some of the provider side. Chelsea, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Chelsea Beatos. Currently, I am an Assistant Director of Care Management with Advanced Care Alliance, or ACA. I started there as a Care Manager Supervisor, and then I became an Assistant Director. Previously, I did work at one of the voluntary agencies as a care manager. Prior to that, I worked as a DSP, so I've been in the field for about 8 years now. And like Janet said, I am the other half of the equation. So she comes from the provider side, and I come from the care coordination organization side. So it's a good fit.
Yes.
That sounds great. It sounds like you guys make each other come full circle. So that's incredible. Yeah. That's awesome.
It's good because it's important now, now that the care management services aren't provided by the voluntary agencies. We don't want families or individuals to feel like they lost that touch with the provider. So it's nice to kind of have, if I need something from the CCO end, I can reach out to Chelsea. If she needs something provider end, and then between us both, we just can offer both sides of the information for the care managers that join us. So it's definitely helpful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So before we continue, we do have another guest from the Care Management Committee. So we have with us today also Jennifer Huddleston. So Jennifer, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I am Jennifer Huddleston. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Care Management with Tri-County Care. Before coming to Tri-County Care in the transition, I guess I'll date myself here. I've been in the field for 18 years, and as well as many of the other ladies here today, I started off as a direct support worker, a direct care counselor at the time, and worked my way through the system and up in the ranks. Pretty much done everything, ran programs, supportive employment, ComHab, DayHab, you name it. And glad to be here with you all today.
Thanks so much for joining us today. So thank you guys. To kind of jump right in, can you tell us about generally what the Care Management Committee does for those who don't really know or aren't even really familiar necessarily with the council's committees and the things that are available to the public? Can you let us know a little bit about it?
Sure. So our goal is really just to provide information for care managers. We actually do have a lot of participants that aren't care managers. It's other people in the field. And sometimes we do have parents or self-advocates that come, just depending on the topics. We really just try to bring information for care managers that will help them serve the individuals better. So we do have monthly meetings. Our meetings are generally scheduled every third Thursday of the month, and then we alternate between morning and evening. We did do a joint meeting with another committee last month, so our schedule got thrown off a little bit, but we do try to pair with other committees. That way, you know, it's another way just for the care managers to kind of connect with those service providers. We do have a joint email address, which I will put in for everyone. And anytime we get like information, you know, OPWDD sends a lot of notices out or updates. We will also try, you know, communicate with the care managers that way. We will forward them any information that we feel like is important to them. We try to keep them updated on just policy changes, anything that's really going on. It's just another resource for care managers. You know, we always welcome them. If they have any questions, please come to us. If you're looking for any information, you know, Chelsea always sends out emails like, you know, are there any topics you want us to discuss? And whenever there is a popular kind of thing going on in the OPWDD world, we will reach out to somebody to get them to speak at the committee meeting. Like, for example, you know, this is kind of graduation time. So we paired with Kayla Verga, the school transition coordinator at OPWDD, and we had her speak when, you know, when CAS assessments was kind of showing up everywhere. We got somebody from, you know, that department at OPWDD to speak to the care managers to educate them on this is what to expect and walk them through the process. So we always try to do relevant information. At our last meeting, we had a nurse come and talk about the vaccines because it's just, that's what's popular in the world right now. And we had, you know, we wanted the nurse to kind of, could you present it in a way that the care managers can bring this information back to their individuals and help in. Chelsea, do you have anything to add? Sorry. Yeah, it's just the goal is really just to keep care managers updated on what's going on because there is just so much going on in the OPWDD world. So, you know, it's kind of another way of just providing them that, and then just a way to help them kind of connect to each other. You know, like there are the three, you know, there's 7 CCOs in New York, as we all know, and then 3 in New York City. So it's a good way for them to kind of network because everyone's doing the same job. So why not reach out to somebody? If you're having difficulty with maybe an application or a program, you know, use your resources, use the people, you know, everyone's in the same boat. You know, it's not a competition. Everyone is here to serve the families better. So why not have that link to people who are in the same boat as you? So it's really just like networking and information.
Yeah, and like just to piggyback off of what Janet was saying, you know, there's within the meetings themselves, there's so many care managers who were previously Medicaid service coordinators like myself. You know, it's so many different levels of experience that, you know, we can't cover everything in our meetings. So it's great to be able to connect and put a face to a name, especially during the pandemic. Everybody's sitting behind the computer screen and we're emailing, whether it's OPWDD or another CCO. And sometimes it's great just to be able to see someone and say, you know, I've spoken to you through email for so long, but it's nice to see your smile every, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly right what Chelsea said, because MSC and care manager is, you know, it's a position where you're usually out so much. You know, you're doing visits at the individual's home, you're doing visits at their program or the residence. You know, it's weird for us to kind of be backstage and be behind a computer. You know, we're used to just being out there and networking. So it's nice to kind of, like Chelsea said, you get to put a face to the name, and, you know, you get to know, it's still like, you get to kind of network, even though you're not a person. So it is nice to kind of keep some type of steadiness and all of the craziness that's going on in the world.
Absolutely, networking in your PJs. I think that from what we've heard from a lot of our you know, people that we've just spoken to on a daily basis, it almost seems like in a way we've connected more now that there's a physical barrier than what we did a year ago. If you asked what it was looking like back in February of 2020 versus April of 2021, I think having that ongoing conversation. So I think that you guys seem to have really got a hold of the whole pandemic situation, how to make it seem a little bit better and, you know, stay on top of those things. So that sounds great. Now, as far as your committee meetings go, how do those look? Do you keep it open to the public? Is it just for committee members? Is it just for the care management groups?
So we welcome everyone. We do have a mailing list, which is just usually people who have attended in the past will get their, you know, keep their email addresses and just add them to our list. Now it's, you know, we're doing them all on Zoom. So, you know, we welcome everyone. We send the invitation to everyone. We always say, please share with your colleagues. Even though it is care management committee, a lot of the topics really just, you know, they affect everyone. So like I mentioned, we did something on the CAS assessment. We had a lot of providers from the adult services world come because they were assisting in that, or residential provider. So we welcome all professionals. Sometimes we've had parents that have reached out, you know, oh, this topic is relevant, you know, to what's going on in my child's life. Can I come? And we tell them, of course. We do have a lot of CCO, like, you know, intake people that come to, as again, just a way to network. So it's nice. We always try to send the invitation out as early as possible and, you know, get the information out there. So we do have a pretty, you know, good attendance. Prior to the pandemic, we were meeting in person and it was nice. We would try to have like coffee and donuts and stuff and, you know, get there early and chit chat. But usually they're about like 2 hours long. We always tell people, because some of the newer care managers have a lot of questions. So we always tell them, please don't feel, you know, afraid or embarrassed to ask questions. We'll stay on after if you need it. So we've had some meetings that have gone quicker just because, you know, it was a short topic. And we've had some meetings that, you know, people have stayed on afterwards just to kind of pick our brains, and it's fine. You know, this is what we're here for, to provide the support to others. So, you know, we say 2 hours, but we're not afraid to stay on a little bit longer, which I think is also helpful that it's on Zoom, because you're not, you know, you're kind of already stationed. You don't have to worry about, oh, I have to travel and get stuck in traffic and go somewhere after. At least, you know, you're already sitting in front of your computer. You can eat, you can do what you need to do. So it's actually almost like we're kind of reaching more people, because you have the ability to just kind of pull up on your phone and listen. You don't have to worry about being there and, you know, doing other things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So besides your monthly meetings and obviously being a part of the general council that meets on this coming Friday. So anyone that's watching, please make sure to join our Friday general council meeting.
And Chelsea and I are actually presenting at that meeting. So
even more so.
Yes, we have partnered with the Residential Quality of Life Committee, which is Linda and Jason. And it was actually a presentation that was scheduled for last month, but last month they discussed the vaccine again, and it was a really in-depth conversation. So we felt, rather than rush it, let's hold it off. So on Friday, we are taking that presentation, and it's all about the Certified Residential Opportunities List, CRO list. And it's about kind of the care manager's role, OPWDD's role, and then a provider's role on getting your child in a residence. which actually works well that it's on Friday because Friday is the DSP Awards. So it's going to be a really nice one. If you can make it, it's always really nice to recognize the DSPs, especially with crazy world that we have. So yes, Friday, 9:30.
Absolutely. Everyone be there. You have no excuse. You can be in your pajamas.
Yes.
We put the link in the chat for that meeting if you could just register in advance. Thank you.
So the registration is actually, it's helpful. It's ways that we can get your email address. You know, sometimes in person we would have the forms to fill out and it was a little hard to kind of understand handwriting. So this is actually kind of working better for us. So that's just what the registration's for. But there is also a follow-up meeting the following Wednesday at night. So if you, for some reason you can't attend the early meeting, they do have a recap meeting the Wednesday after, and it's from like 7 to 8 or 8:30. So we try
I
to.
think it's super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Absolutely. So, I know earlier you and I, we were speaking, you know, before we went on live. You guys have a couple of things up your sleeve for the future. So do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the exciting things that 2021 has to offer for the Care Management Committee?
Sure. Chelsea, you want to take that one?
Well, I mean, there's, you know, we have experience working together previously, so we're in constant communication. I think it's, you know, like you mentioned earlier, we feed off of each other's energy, and where she lacks, I pick up, and vice versa. So I'm really excited that, you know, I'm working with her. She's very experienced, like she expressed, and you know, I think that the sky's the limit when it comes to what we can discuss. We're open to all topics. Touching back on the format of our meetings, once the meetings are done, whatever topics we had on the agenda, we do have an open floor, so care managers can always feel that any topic they want to hear about, they can speak on, and if we don't have the information, we do our best to make sure that we direct them to the proper person, or, you know, we'll answer to the best of our ability. So we always encourage active participation. We do have the shared email, like Janet mentioned. So even if you're not comfortable sharing during the meeting, you can always email us and let us know on the side, and we will do our best to represent what you need us to represent for you. As for anything specific, Janet, I don't know if you want to.
So I was just mentioning our partnering with the Adult Services Committee. It's just, we did meet with them we had a joint meeting in March, and from that, like Chelsea mentioned, you know, it kind of came up in conversation and just kind of led us to our next task was we're working with them and Kayla from OPWDD to create kind of a directory of day habs and like what their status is. So we kind of divvied up all the different programs and are all, you know, reaching out to the different ones and asking basically, are they open virtually or in person? Are they accepting new applications? And then again, are for virtual or in person? Is there a tour? What does that look like? Is there like a specialty? Because, you know, some agencies have a specialty in autism or, you know, non-ambulatory. And our goal is to kind of put it together, and then us as care managers, Iris and Leah from the Adult Services Committee will present it to their team members, and Kayla Verga actually wants to take the information and submit it to families who come to the front door for the OPWDD, you know, graduation process. So it's something that we kind of just started working on, but we're going through all of our contacts quickly, and we have like a spreadsheet created. So it's a way, just because, you know, people can't go out and do tours like they normally would. At this time, you would kind of go and see all the programs that are out there and families make decision on what would be the best day hab provider for their child. You can't really do that now. So it's just kind of a way for families to know, rather than having to kind of make all the contacts themselves. I'll just have a chart to say, like, okay, well, this one is taking applications or this one isn't, and who to contact, rather than having to kind of go through all those extra steps.
Exactly. Because with things the way they are now, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things look different. So it's important that not only the families, but the care managers know who they can reach out to for information and submit applications on the family's behalf and things like that. So we're really excited about it. It's coming together very nicely. So we're looking forward to sharing that with everyone.
That really sounds like such a helpful resource, for everyone and anyone that really can get their hands on it. We actually did get a couple of questions in the comments here, so if we can address them. So one of the questions that we got was, what has been the most significant change in your opinions since the transition from MSC to care management?
So we can both kind of take this one. The idea with the change from MSC, Medicaid Service Coordination, to care management was that it was going to be, MSC was very much focused on your HCBS waiver services. Although, MSCs always did more. They would always kind of help the families however they can. The goal of it was really to manage those waiver services. With care management, the goal is to kind of incorporate medical, psych, behavioral, all of that. So it's kind of a more overall, complete life case manager instead of, just related to the waiver services. But, with that, with the CCOs, it gives more of a kind of outside perspective. In the past, you could have your MSC services from the same agencies that you got your maybe, residential services from, or day hab, or both, or sometimes school program as well. And, a good MSC didn't let that kind of affect their opinion. But sometimes, with your own agency, it's a little bit different. So with the CCO, since they are removed from the service provider, it kind of gives that outside look to make sure the services are really being delivered how they should be delivered, and the person is really getting the best value of their services that they're supposed to get. Chelsea, from the CCO side, you can definitely.
That's what I would say is the most significant change. Like Janet said, we in the Medicaid service coordination world, we were primarily focused on those waiver services, their community habilitation, day habilitation. We did help with other things as well, but now we're focusing a lot on medical, behavioral, any type of programs that are needed outside of or supports outside of their traditional waiver services, we're now assisting with. We're helping with benefits and entitlements, where if you don't have a physician, we are helping to link and refer you to a physician. It's kind of, it's full circle. We are doing everything now. So it's really the driving force is really to allow our members to live their most fulfilling life. So I would say that's the most significant change.
Yeah. Wow, I mean, that all sounds great. So it really does sound like we made the right transition. So the follow-up question to that was, do you guys believe that care management services are better than Medicaid service coordination?
I'll take that one. Absolutely. Not with the transition, we are completely conflict-free. We can advocate for things like Janet had said that maybe we couldn't, or it was perceived that we couldn't advocate beforehand. Maybe the person lived within your residential setting and the family wasn't happy with that residential setting, but you worked at that agency. Now, as care managers in a conflict-free environment, it is person-centered. We speak to the individual, we speak to the family. Where do you want to live? Maybe you don't want to live in a residential setting. Maybe you want to live in your own apartment in the community, and you want to work, you want to have supportive employment, you want to have community rehabilitation. And we're able to do that for our individuals, as well as the transition out of a hospital, out of a nursing home. We're speaking to the social workers, the doctors, and can have everything put in place before somebody comes home to keep them in the least restrictive environment.
Thank you. Thank you for kind of narrowing that down and That sounds great. So I hope that answered all of our viewers' questions. We do have another comment from a viewer, Maritza. When I was searching for an agency for my daughter, it was very difficult because she was medically fragile, who had the physical capabilities and can function with other peers. To me, that was the biggest struggle that she had finding, but thanks to PCCS, oh, thank you, they created something just for her. So we're really glad to hear that, there's a lot of positive feedback out there. And, we want to hear everyone's story. So that's that. But thank you all three of you for kind of narrowing it down, especially to those who don't really know. Where me and Kevin constantly say we're always learning. We're talking to people that these are things that we probably should have known, and it's just every intricacy that's out there. Knowledge is power at this point. So thank you for really also explaining what the difference between MSC and care coordination is at the very least. So with that said, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. It's a pleasure speaking with you. And thank you. We actually had been to some of the care management committee meetings. So I strongly encourage everyone who is watching, take a moment and join a meeting. They're such wonderful people, and they're always great to talk to. So I want to thank you guys again, and we hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, Melissa and Kevin.
Yes,
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And with that said, to our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.